Graham Kennedy. John Mangos and I bring you the news coast to coast. Zon, is there any news fit to see on this Wednesday evening, the 15th day of March, 1989?
Graham, tonight, conservationists prepare for more battles despite the scrapping of the Wesley Vale pulp project. Farmers all over Australia counting the cost of floods and heavy rain. And watch out, Superman, the fur is flying in Tasmania.
Kalinichta.
Kalispera.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Kalispera.
Yeah.
Kalispera Zon.
Hello, Graham.
Hello, Graham. She's a beautiful man.
I'd say good evening.
Good evening, John. No, why I'm doing this is I'm hesitating to get into the written opening. You see, when we collate the show earlier in the evening, you think, oh, isn't that funny? And then when it comes time to do it, you think, oh, I don't know, it's too funny. So I'm procrastinating, you see. I know you can't see me doing it, but I am. While I'm sitting here, I really am having a little quiet, silent procrastination. There are three people who make the show much funnier than any of us, and they're called Tim Evans, Larry Burns, and Ken Sterling, and they're wonderful. But we all have our bad days, and sometimes the writers have a bad day, sometimes I have a bad day. When all the bad days, when we crack it for us all having a, that's when I lose, but I haven't lost, we're going to do it. Here commences the written material. Zon!
Graham!
Oh, good evening. Good night. Oh no, too soon. We may have, and I'm losing confidence, we may have considerably less viewers tonight. 3 states have been washed away by torrential rains.
Canberra's flooded. It says there.
I know, but you lost confidence too. Canberra's flooded.
Canberra's flooded?
Gail, would you mind? Thank you. Gail, or I'll tell everyone about the 90. No, I must. Remind me later.
Oh, the 90 story.
Remind me later to tell Gail and Vicky Courtley and the 90 story.
Okay, I will.
We may have considerably less viewers tonight. 3 states have just about been washed away by torrential rains.
And Canberra's flooded.
That's too bright then.
Oh.
Too bright.
Canberra's flooded.
Well, no, a little. Canberra's flooded.
Canberra's flooded.
Okay. Gail, would you? Thank you. We may have considerably less viewers tonight. 3 states have just about washed away by torrential rains. Canberra's flooded, that's right. Yes. The Prime Minister was the only one able to get to work today.
Did he take a helicopter?
No, he walked. That was the best of them. John, there's a good riddle here. What kind of an umbrella does Paul Keating carry when it's raining?
I don't know.
A wet one.
From the vast, don't cry, from the vast resources of the 9 Network's news-gathering facilities, here is the up-to-the-minute news of the day. In our newsroom, here's George Danikian.
Graham, John, despite the collapse of Tasmania's pulp mill proposal, conservation groups aren't yet declaring the end of the war. North Broken Hill Pico and its Canadian partners have withdrawn from the billion-dollar project because of strict federal government standards on pollutants that would be dumped into Bass Strait.
It's an absolute disgrace that the Labor Party are using Tasmania as the environmental whipping boy to gain support in Sydney and Melbourne.
We've lost the largest potential value-added industry that we've had for decades.
But despite the tough government line, Federal Treasurer Paul Keating says he'll welcome other bids to establish a pulp mill. That's tempered the celebrations of environmentalists who say they'll keep fighting to protect Tasmania's forests and seas.
Well, I'm not against pulp mills per se. I'm just against massive polluting industries.
Shares in North Broken Hill Pico lost 5 cents after the announcement. Meanwhile, financial markets are preparing for the release tomorrow of February's balance of payments figures. Analysts say an improvement in the trade deficit could ease pressure on interest rates. As floodwaters ease in South Australia, farmers are preparing to count the cost of the deluge. Supplies have been flown into stranded homesteads and fears are held for livestock. Meanwhile, miners in Coomapedy have been bailing out the underground houses, ironically built to protect them from the sun.
A bit of a shock? Oh, yeah. Mrs. Zane panicking. Lost all the power. Yeah, is it going to cost you a lot to fix that? Oh, fair bit, I suppose.
Floodwaters are also receding in Canberra after overflowing dams and rivers almost isolated the city. In Brisbane, up to 100 prison officers are facing the sack after revelations that 10% of warders have criminal records. The shock announcement comes as an independent inquiry tries to work out if there was any involvement by prison officers in last Saturday's mass breakout at Boggo Road Jail. And interest is high in a Brisbane by-election for the seat vacated by disgraced Government Minister Don Lane. One candidate, Jerry Bellino, was himself named in the Fitzgerald inquiry as a gambling boss. The election also includes Australia's first transsexual candidate, Tanya Wild.
I'm making a stand to stop what is a physical and emotional bashing of homosexuals as a group.
Overseas, or indeed in space, the crew of the Space Shuttle Discovery is keeping its fingers crossed tonight, hoping its mission won't be cut short by a suspected fuel problem. Erratic pressure readings in a hydrogen supply tank forced the crew to conserve power and shut down some equipment. But Discovery's problems didn't prevent the astronauts from documenting the Earth's troubles, photographing environmental damage on the planet. NASA Control has spent the day checking the fuel system and is optimistic the shuttle will be able to remain in orbit until its scheduled touchdown coming up this weekend.
We appreciate the good work you all are doing down here. Okay, Mike, good night.
That's all from the newsroom. I'll be back with a little more later in the show.
Do you say orgy or orgy?
Orgy.
Orgy. All Chilean fruit has been banned in America and Canada because they found cyanide in the grapes. Blimey. I hope they don't ban grapes here. I mean, you can't throw a good orgy without grapes, can you? No.
It was the discovery of these two grapes contaminated with cyanide that sparked the Chilean fruit scare. The white crystalline rings made inspectors suspicious, and a closer look revealed small puncture marks as well. The Food and Drug Administration immediately began a thorough search of all fruit from the South American country. Grocery stores started pulling the produce from their shelves with this warning.
The best advice that I can give is to be safe, not sorry. Don't consume any fresh fruit from Chile, and don't panic on the other hand.
Although the amount found in the grapes was not a lethal amount, Chilean authorities are blaming communist-backed terrorists for the poisoning and for the massive damage it's done to the country's $740 million fruit export industry. In New York, wholesalers lumbered with tons of worthless fruit are furious.
Would I eat them? Yeah. Sure. Want to see me eat them? Yeah, right here. Here you got it. Here you go. I'm afraid. Here's Chileans.
But the headache for American consumers doesn't end with Chilean fruit. Schools right across the country here have banned apples, till now included in the students' lunchboxes. The reason, they say, the apples may cause cancer. The concern is over the chemical ALAR used to make apples redder and crisper. Most growers say they've now stopped using it, but others, like actress mother Meryl Streep, say the change has come too late.
This is coming on the spoon into the mouth every day. 4 times a day you spoon that applesauce into the baby's mouth.
Government agencies here are investigating ALAR, but they say there's not enough evidence at this point to order the withdrawal of those apples from sale. In the United States, Jane Phelan, Graham Kennedy, Coast to Coast.
One of the vineyards over there, John, has just fired its head grape treader after 32 years.
Why?
They caught him sitting down on the job.
They certainly do things simply in Tasmania, even when they go hang gliding. They don't really leave the ground.
At 79, Mrs. Olive Hesketh normally prefers to keep both feet on the ground.
Now then, you take my stick.
As for taking any unnecessary risks, well, why should she?
Right, right there.
Yep.
But Mrs. Hesketh is approaching another birthday, and with that in mind, she threw caution to the wind and took a giant leap towards age 80.
We're off! We're off! Yippee! Whee!
Cable hang gliding is not the same as soaring through the thermals, but
It's the next best thing to the real thing. No risk.
How was it? Great!
the hang glider is real enough, but it's attached to a cradle and pulley system, which gives you the exhilaration of flight without worrying about how you're going to come down. Down at the bottom, all that fun was driving Come On to distraction. Finally, Come On got his wish. One gets the idea, he was looking forward to the ride.
I want to fly, fly, fly away. Fly, fly, fly away. Fly, 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 fly away. Fly, fly away, yeah. Fly, fly, fly away. Fly away.
Good boy. Good boy, Come On.
Oh, no, it's bad enough treading on it on the footpath. Who wants it hurtling out of the sky at you?
I like the dog's name, Come On.
Yeah, what a strange name for the dog. Come On.
Yeah.
Come on. It's Come On. But what confusing, I think, for the dog. What, when you don't want him to hang around, I mean, it would confuse him like, nick off, come on. Come on, nick off. Nick off, come on. I'll get out of it.
The Prince and Princess of Wales said goodbye to Kuwait today en route to Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, yes, made famous in a song by Debbie Reynolds and Carlton Carpenter, which went, Abu Dhabi, 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 said the princess to the prince. Nice song, that
Beautiful
was.
song.
Abu Dhabi, Dhabi, Dhabi.
Dhabi.
Yeah, I love it.
Actually, the princess had a little trouble with the date diplomacy.
Oh.
The highlight of today's round of engagements was a visit to Kuwait's National Museum. The Kuwaitis are keen to keep alive old customs. Confetti throwing isn't confined to weddings, although the stony-faced security man probably wished it was. All around, the continuous beat of drums, singing and dancing. The princess was momentarily distracted by someone, she didn't seem sure who it was, as the dancers shimmered on. And then she was a little uncertain about what to do with the date stone. Her husband showed her how, and all was well. Presents were exchanged. A delicate black shawl, heavily embroidered with gold, not what women here could wear in public, something the princess seemed to realize. And then it was time to move on, to leave the excited crowds of Kuwait, to head south down the Gulf to the United Arab Emirates. Revenue from oil has produced startling changes over the past 20 years in everyone's way of life here, something the royal couple will be seeing in the next 3 days.
Isn't that sweet? What a well-brought-up girl she is. She was prepared to wait until she got to Buckingham Palace before spitting it out.
Graham, what is the correct royal procedure for date stone spitting?
Oh, well, of course I would know that being... No, I'm quite familiar with that. What you do if you're a member of the royal family and you are left with a date stone in your mouth, you spit it on the nearest peasant. Yeah. And you say, oh, thank you, Your Majesty. Very kind. Got one right in the eye.
There are very few men who consistently... That made me laugh. Yeah, I'm on the way.
No.
See, because I screwed up a line. I should have said date stone...
I don't think we say screwed up a line, but
I said
if you want to
stone spitting instead of removal.
Ah, well, you see.
And that's why I think I might be on the next plane back.
No, you won't be on the next plane. The princess had a little trouble with the date. Oh, no, you were fine. That's fine. No, tonight's one of those nights I think you can do anything.
There are very few men who consistently make people laugh on television.
Oh,
one,
well,
of course.
I know. Yes. No, just call me Graham.
The King. The other, of course, is Irish comedian Dave Allen. Irish comedian Dave Allen has a reputation for shocking audiences. Branded as irreverent, the witty comic has braved areas of humour considered taboo by many others. He pokes fun at popes.
And he said, the Pope, with him you've only got to kiss his ring.
He parodies politicians.
It appears that I'm being rather hard on politicians. I don't really mean to be, because I actually have a very soft spot for them. It's a bog in the west of Ireland.
And drops bombs on the Irish.
I will do a quick impression of an IRA man looking for a landmine.
On the eve of a national tour, we met Allen in a bar, naturally. He hasn't lost any of his caustic wit, but he has lost a finger. An exclusive for Coast to Coast. Never before has he revealed how.
When I started off as a comedian, you didn't get very much money. So I used to hitchhike to jobs from London to Doncaster to Sheffield to try and save whatever money I got paid because I wasn't getting paid any money, so it was quite difficult to live. And I'd been on the road 3 or 4 days, and I hadn't actually got paid anything. And I was literally starving, and I was hitchhiking through Yorkshire. And I'm just walking down the road one day, and suddenly my stomach goes, it makes a terrible sound, and I think, oh, I've got to have a crap. So I leap over the fence and get into a field, and I'm having a crap. And I hear, and I look down, and my arse is actually eating the grass. Grass is going up my anus. So I grabbed the grass to pull it out, and my arse bit my finger.
This is what you told your family.
This is what I told myself, and that's the truth.
Alan shares a rare distinction with our own Graham Kennedy for being banned from live television in Australia. But he remembers Graham for an entirely different reason.
He owes me a lunch, because he came to London years ago, and I took him out, and he said, I'll buy you lunch next time you're back in Australia. I've been back 14 times. I've never heard a word from him. I'm starving. I might even go back and eat some grass.
Old Roman calendar, the Ides occurred on the 15th of March, May, July and October, and the 13th day of the other months. When the calendar was strictly lunar, the Ides would occur at the full moon. Julius Caesar was told to beware the Ides of March, and he was assassinated on this day in 44 BC. Unfortunately, Caesar thought they said the Guides of March, and so he was on the lookout for a Girl Guide troupe. At the MCG on this day in 1877, Australia and England met in their first cricket test. A crowd of 10,000 saw Australia, led by Dave Gregory, defeat the Poms, led by James Lillywhite, by the margin of 45 runs. By an amazing coincidence, the centenary test in 1977 was also won by Australia by 45 runs. On this day in 1983, the New South Wales Parliamentary Liberal Party elected Rosemary Foote as deputy leader, a position she held till her resignation from Parliament in 1986. The party had obviously decided to put the right foot forward. Jack Lang, also known as the Big Fella, was expelled from the Labor Party on this day in 1943. In 1926, Lang and his inner group established control of the New South Wales Labor Party and held it till it was wrested from him in 1939. After his expulsion, he successfully stood as an independent in 1946. Tempers take a long time to cool in politics, and it was not until 1971 that he was readmitted to the party. He had two famous slogans, Lang is right and Lang is greater than Lenin, although perhaps it's my party and I'll cry if I want to would also have been appropriate.
It's report card day in television land. Today's the day that the ratings come out. We all get our marks. If they're good, we get a gold star. But if they're bad, sometimes you're even called into the headmaster's office and told that you've been expelled. Don't cough on expelled. It's the funniest thing. The big news is that 60 Minutes won their spot at last from Comedy Company.
It was the same old story for the final week of Survey 1, the Nine network way ahead of its rivals. In Melbourne too, Nine was well clear of the opposition. The Bond flagship had all Sydney's top shows, with 60 Minutes knocking Comedy Company out of the pacings for the first time since August. Most popular show in Melbourne was the 10 Network's Neighbours, with Comedy Company again a surprise omission from the top three. The Leo McKern, Julia Black, Graham Kennedy film Travelling North was Sydney's most watched movie. In Melbourne it was the Steve Martin, Lily Tomlin classic All of Me. The late night slot in Sydney remains King Country, with the program averaging 9. In Melbourne it was an increased showing for Coast to Coast, with the show reaching figures even primetime shows would be happy with.
British secret agent James Bond has a reputation for certain feats of stamina, but his prowess doesn't obviously extend to singing. Former 007 Roger Moore has just pulled out of a big London musical because he can't hold a note.
It was one of his toughest missions yet. The man who'd been licensed to kill, preparing to storm the West End stage in a musical. his critics remembered early musical excursions.
Loving you. Yes, my darling. Just loving you.
The former 007 said he'd take singing lessons to help him cope, and he faced a hard taskmaster. Other stars who've shared Andrew Lloyd Webber's success remember his perfectionism.
Webber has this incredible range, and he pushes sometimes, you know. And I had to kind of go from way here to very high, and go, high, high. Oh, and he goes very deep and low. And he can make tremendous demands, you know.
Today, at his London hotel, Roger Moore admitted he just wasn't up to it.
I am not experienced enough, I discovered, to carry a melody when other instruments are playing and other people are singing other melodies. It's very difficult.
And that pullout shocked other members of the cast.
We were all shattered.
And did he give any clue that he might?
None. None. He kept it entirely within himself.
There's no doubt that Roger Moore's departure has come as a blow to management and cast here at the Prince of Wales. But Aspects of Love has already sold tickets worth at least £3 million. However, producer Trevor Williams now has less than a month to find a replacement. And Mr. Moore, well, he said Roger and out with a quote from the character he would have played.
I've had a splendid time, a truly splendid time, but I really ought to go.
Poor Roger couldn't get the notes. Isn't that sad? Still, he's better off than that poor guy, the lead singer in the original production of Cats. They had to have him doctored so he could hit the high notes. Truly, truly, high notes like that one.
Updating tonight's news, and currency dealers are bracing themselves for the release of the February balance of payments figures tomorrow. Most economists predict the current account deficit will show a slight improvement on the January figures, but may still blow out to as much as $1.4 billion. And strong reaction to the collapse of Tasmania's billion-dollar pulp mill project. Opposition leader John Howard says the federal government is to blame for failing to negotiate acceptable pollution standards. And Tasmanian Premier Robin Gray is furious about the loss of jobs, saying his government's guidelines were the toughest in the world. That's all from the newsroom. Now it's back to the studio.
George Danikian there bringing us up to date. 9-month-old Hannah Chobo was given her first swimming lesson today, which certainly isn't riveting news, until you know that her mother is former Australian world champion swimmer Tracy Wickham.
Hannah Chobo took to the water like a veteran. On the blocks for the first time, there were no signs of nerves, and in a school with a number of other toddlers, the daughter of an Olympic champion was right at home, under the care of Mum and Laurie Lawrence.
Oh, Hannah! Oh, I love those flexible feet.
With Father Robert observing, Laurie started the Lawrence initiation.
Want an Italian? Come here, come round. Chiabo, pronto via. Oh.
Hannah had every right to feel comfortable in the swimming pool. Tracy Wickham was one of the finest swimmers the world has seen and held the 800 metres world record for over 9 years. Even a comeback at 26 may not be out of the question. Her career finished after the 1982 Commonwealth Games, where she won gold medals in the 400 and 800 freestyle. After today's first lesson, Mum seemed quite happy with her daughter's achievement.
Seems very happy in the water, you know, a few little drizzles here and there, but she's taking to it really well.
Laurie starts coaching babies from when they're 2 months and has a simple recipe for success.
Well, it's introducing them slowly, not just going like a bull at a gate and saying you're under first day. If they cry for a reason, so you've got to find out that reason. And just conditioning them like I did with her today. Ciao, pronto via.
Alan Thomas, Graham Kennedy, Coast to Coast.
And always remember, you should never swim on an empty stomach. Water is much better. 2 young Melbourne dancers have been shining their patent leather shoes. Did you ever wear patent leather shoes? They're very shiny, very good, because if you put your foot, when you're a young person and were naive and gauche and awkward, you could, and dirty, you could never now, but you could actually place your patent leather shoe in a certain place and there would be a reflection of wherever you'd put your shoe.
Ah, that explains something.
Yes.
The floor crew all wearing
patent leather so they can look up ladies' skirts. Yes. I might have lost my place now with...
That might have been the reason.
Yes. Two young Melbourne dancers have been shining their patent... Oh, that's where I got to. Oh, we're killing them.
I'm sorry,
mate. No, it's my fault. They've been shining their patent leather shoes and sewing on sequins because they're on their way. They're on their way to the British Ballroom Championship in...
Kelly Newton and Eamon. Last December they came third in the national junior titles, and now they're off to England to represent Australia in the prestigious British Championship.
During weekdays it's anything from 3.5 to 4 hours, and on the weekends it's anything up to 5 hours.
Eye level Kelly's to the floor.
At 11 years of age, Kelly's already competing against girls 4 years older than herself, and will become the youngest dancer to represent Australia in an international competition.
Okay, Eamon, let's go back and do the slows.
And for Eamon, representing his country means an end to any stirring at school about his tripping the light fantastic in fancy clothes.
They used to rib me a lot about it, but now that they've heard that we're going to England, that's sort of, it's made a big change. They can see how far you can really go with dancing.
The Moomba competition's their last chance to prove themselves before they head for England. Backstage, the dancers warm up like any athlete before a final, making sure every muscle's ready for the big event.
I like the competitive side of it, where you're out there to do something.
And although Kelly looks more like a Las Vegas showgirl than a schoolgirl, she's still an 11-year-old who likes to dress up.
Not many kids my age get to put makeup on and just have a really good time in doing it.
Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. I'm really ready to go out there and have a good dance.
The hours of practice have finally paid off, and Kelly and Eamon put on a dazzling display to take out the Moomba Junior title.
I'm really happy to win tonight. It was great winning the Moomba, but things in England will be a lot tougher.
It was tough tonight, but we hope to...
In the world, don't we?
Sure do.
And us too. Phone calls as a result of last night's show. Too many commercials, Graham. I might have to switch over to Robbo. Well, he's got them too. He said one of the problems with commercial television, when you're a huge success, like us, is... Why did they laugh then? Why did they laugh?
Sounded like a reasonable thing to say.
We are a huge... Did you not see the ratings? We're the greatest thing on earth. I've said before, other planets are watching. Truly, universes that haven't been discovered yet, hence the figures. No, in commercial television, when you're a big hit, and I spell that with an H, I mean, they sell space, and they put more ads in because that's what we're in the business for. What we do in commercial television is very simple. We have to collect the greatest group of people to watch us, and fill in stuff that's not too appalling between the commercial breaks. I mean, no one could explain it more succinctly. Disgusted with the Cane Toad story, not watching again. See, some people said, no, we've seen a Cane Toad story, that's it. No, we'll never watch the Nine Network again. As if you would. Reference to Hitler was very poor taste. Oh, I don't know. All I said was, let's not go into it. Did George Danikian ever play soccer for Sydney Olympic for the Sydney Olympic Greek Club. We asked George this. No, he didn't, but he did play for Pan Hellenic. Is that correct?
I think so.
Pan Hellenic?
Yes.
Many disabled people were outraged with Graham's cold-hearted comments. Yes,